Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gila Den. Hey guys, so we're going to talk a little bit about venom. Most of you realize that there's a couple major types of venom. There's a hemotoxic venom, which destroys tissue, and a neurotoxic venom, which affects more your respiratory system and your heart. I work with all these Gila monsters, and of course, they're labeled as one of 2 venomous lizards in the world. We have to worry about what that venom means if somebody were to get bit. Very few people die from Gila monster venom. There's nobody that makes a Gila monster anti-venom because of that. It's not profitable. Gila monster venom is apparently extremely painful, and the research is done with animals in the wild kind of shows that if a coyote's been bitten by a Gila monster, it will go a long way out of its way if it ever sees one of those lizards again. It's painful, but it rarely kills things. So what's the purpose of their venom? It's strictly defensive. They don't use it to hunt their food. They're primarily running down things like baby rabbits in a nest or quail eggs, so they don't have to have real superior venom to stop something in its tracks. Beaded lizards are the other species that have venom, and then people talk about Komodo dragons quite a bit. And I've been to Komodo. We went to see the Komodo dragons on Komodo Island. Been able to see some really cool large lizards like that. Unfortunately, I've never seen a Gila monster in the wild. I'm surrounded by them every day, but we've never been out west at a time period where we could find a Gila monster. So Gila monsters, their venom, unlike a rattlesnake would have its venom on its top jaw in sacs behind its eyes. The Gila monster venom is actually in sacs in their lower jaw, and their teeth are not like hypodermic needles. They're not injecting their venom. Each one of these tiny little teeth has a groove, and the venom is in their saliva, and it works as they chew on something. The venom works up that groove and into the wound, and it's drastically different than the Komodo dragon. The Komodo setup is very different. It doesn't have 1 or 2 large venom sacs, and that's why for so long we've never considered them venomous. It turns out that, according to Fry, there's actually a small, tiny venom sac associated with each tooth. And that venom is not very potent. It is not rattlesnake-like. It's not even really up to Gila monster standards. Jaw system, of course, is set up very differently. They're a powerful animal. Each of their teeth, again, no hypodermic needle, but not even a groove, so there's nothing that's really transferring venom in them. But their teeth are more like shark's teeth. They're curved and they're very sharp-edged, just like a steak knife. So in 2009, I was lucky enough to be able to go to Komodo and see the dragons in the wild. We were building an exhibit at work for captive Komodo dragons, and we wanted to see the habitat and try to replicate some of that. It's just like it is on television. There are dragons everywhere. They're under people's houses. They're out sitting on the dock waiting for the cruise ship to come in. And there's big adults and young ones all over the island. So it's a fantastic place if you can get there. So we have to remind you again, these are venomous lizards, and it's important to treat them as such. So you'll see people that handle them, but it's because they've learned to pick them up in the proper way, or they've picked them up with a hook or some type of tool that they can use to protect themselves as they're getting a hold of them. But then once you have a hold of them, they're a lot like holding on to a young alligator. As long as you control their head, there's not much they can do to you. But you've got to be prepared for a bite. If you get bit, what do you plan to do? The worst case scenario is if the Gila monster's locked onto you and you can't get him off, because every second that he's on you, he's delivering more venom. So we have these things here. You can just see they're sitting around. So they're easy to grab. This is just something that's used in the auto industry for windows, but this is a nice wedge that you could use to put in a Gila monster's mouth to help you get it off of you real quick. I also keep a couple credit cards inside the room. Those are a nice handy thing to slide in their mouth to help get the teeth out of your skin. And then some people have talked about you may be able to squirt a little hand sanitizer in their mouth, and that may make them let go. But all of those are things that you don't want to have to think about long term while you've got an animal attached to you. You want to kind of have some idea about that ahead of time.